Nigeria Decides 2027 from Koa Podcast in collaboration with Insights by Al-Kaitawi. Nigeria Decides 2027, clear and unfiltered analysis, watching the system closely so Nigerians can decide wisely. Sometimes democracy here feels like a football match where one of the teams disappears before the kickoff. This is Soccerlitics kind of a way of explaining things. The referee says everything is normal. The stadium is full, the commentators are ready, but one team is suddenly no longer allowed on the pitch. Interesting. The latest drama involves the African Democratic Congress. The party recently become meeting ground for a potential opposition coalition preparing for the 2027 general election. This is Nigeria Decides 2027, heading to the Nigeria's general election. Everything you need to know. You can find it here on Koa Podcast, Tuesday, 360 Politics and Blog on our YouTube channel and Facebook, Koa Podcast, and my personal handle. The leadership recognition withdrawn. The names removed from the INEC official portals. That's the factional disputes cited, legal uncertainty everywhere, and Nigerians are now asking a simple question. Is this just another internal party crisis? Or is it a political battle pit for 2027 being quietly redesigned? This is Insights by Al-Kaitawi, namely the series under Nigeria Decide 2027. Democracy without opposition is an antithetical, an invitation to civilian autocracy. Well, a civilian rule without votes, and political parties are major ingredients in democracy. Nigerians must rise and ensure that the obvious antics by the president to push the country into one-party state because of the second term do not succeed. And obviously that's what they have been doing. I remember in recent interview, the APC National Secretary, Senator Ajibola Basiru, was asked if they went into 2027 general election without opposition party, how are they going to feel? He says he doesn't care, and that is how his entire party and his principal himself feels, because they don't feel that this democracy is very important, and they don't feel that they are owing to Nigerian to have a level playing ground. But let's be honest about something. President Bola Tinubu is not just a president. He is a political strategist who spent decades building one of the most disciplined political machines in Nigerian history and involved in the APC coming to power. So he knows how this coalition maneuvers. That's why he take the same path of taking down the opposition. And this is very dangerous to the very democracy we have been practicing in this country. And is believed to have put the structure in place in which the governors came, and many analysts now believe that the same model of political control that has been practiced in Lagos is expanded nationally, which is a big threat to our democracy. Nigeria is not Lagos, not simply winning elections, not at all, but shaping the political environment in which elections take place and just go. That is where the role of the opposition emerges. The opposition coalition becomes more important when such threats to our institutions exist. Because if opposition figures begins organizing under platforms such as the African Democratic Congress, the political equation changes, more especially having all the big wigs, the who is who of the Nigerian political space in that party. Suddenly the ruling structure faces a coordinated challenge instead of fragmented opposition parties. That's exactly the moment when the party enters leadership crisis and electoral recognition becomes uncertain, delegitimizing, delisting at the same time, which is very dangerous. And is that coincidence? No. But probably, maybe in Nigerian politics, coincidences always deserve careful examination, and I so truly believe that. I don't believe the delisting of the leaders and delegitimization and handing over the party to Napiu Gombe over status quo antebellum argument is the correct decision by the INEC. and deeply unfortunate that someone who once called himself a Democrat, someone fought against military dictatorship in this country, now stands accused of presiding over the erosion of the very democratic institutions that Nigerians struggle to build. For many Nigerians, the moment you mention INEC, once believed to be an independent body, is used to give people hope. It is now something different. It used to give people goosebumps because it symbolizes something. They believe that they can decide their leaders through credible elections, and now it's no longer that body that they think. Today, confidence is collapsing. And let me be clear, I'm not a member of ADC and I don't see them as an alternative because I'm a left leaning revolutionary. But it has to be said that our democracy is under threat and the political arena is being manipulated. You cannot just deregister the party leadership after the big political heavyweights join the party. Online registration is surging. It is beyond scandalous. Who once called himself a Democrat, someone who fought against a military dictatorship in this country, now stands accused of presiding over the erosion of the very democratic institutions that Nigerians struggle to build. You're definitely going to ask, who is this guy talking about? I'm talking about the current president, who is been held as a Democrat, somebody who really cares about democracy, now presiding over the chaos that is ongoing. I mean, the kind of political jittery that his party went on is crazy. For many Nigerians, the moment you mention the Independent National Electoral Commission, once believed to be an independent body, it used to give people hope. Now it used to give them a goosebumps, and I'm one of them because it symbolizes the possibility that ordinary citizens could decide their leaders through credible elections. Today, the confidence is collapsing. Let me be clear, I'm not a member of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, I'm not, and I do not necessarily see the ADC as my political alternative, but what has happened around the party raises serious democratic concerns. For an electoral body to suddenly move to deregister and delegitimize a political party just days before its convention and only days after a major political actors joined the party, somebody like Senator Rabi Konkoso, and its membership reportedly began surging, is beyond scandalous. You cannot call that democracy, and at base it is crazy. At base it raises disturbing question. At worst it suggests manipulation of the political arena is clear. Let me just put it as it is. A legal scholar and anti-corruption advocate, Chidi Odinkalu, publicly questions the circumstances surrounding the decision. According to him, the meeting reportedly took place, quote, between senior officials of Electoral Commission and high-level judicial authorities in the last 60 hours before the announcement. He argued interpreting the Court of Appeal decision is not the job of the Electoral Commission. And if there was a confusion, the Commission should have returned to the court for clarification. Instead, the decision was issued in a way that has left the country staring down the barrel of a constitutional crisis. Now we are in a constitutional crisis. This is part of the series of a Nigeria Decide 2027 from Inside by Al Kitawi and Koa podcast. We will continue doing it, but the condition is very scandalous.